The world our kids are growing up in, it's not the same one that we grew up in. It's fast, it's loud, and sometimes too overwhelming. I'm Deepa, and this is the Parenting Reboot. This is your space to learn, breathe, relax, but also help figure out how do we raise kids for the future. And today on our show, I have someone really, really special. She is a digital content creator and also a first-time mom to a baby girl, Sachaya. Hi, Sachaya. Welcome to the show.
Hi Deepa, I'm so happy to be here. Really looking forward to talking to you about these very important things.
I think a lot of listeners or people on social media know Sachaya as this wide-eyed girl who's always on this lookout for the yummiest foods out there and the best recommendations, but also who makes our everyday mundane living so laughable and hilarious with her reels. And she ends it by saying easy. So yeah, it's really awesome to have somebody as inspiring as Sachaya also share the parenting journey in the similar boat that I am. And I want to start by asking you a bit about like your parenting journey so far, obviously, and postpartum, right? How much has the internet influenced your postpartum journey? Tell us how you're doing in general.
I think the first 30 days, like with everybody else, was really, really tough. But I was very lucky that I had a lot of good support around. My in-laws had come and then my parents had come. We also had a confinement nanny for the first 30, 40 days who
Mm,
would come for say about like 6, 7 hours during the day. So that meant that I got a break where I could catch up on sleep, which is so important and so highly underrated. And also, she's the one who taught us like how to bathe the baby, feed the baby, change diapers, the correct way to do all of these things that I think you kind of take for granted that you will just get or or that your
mm,
parents will know. And your parents have done this like 30 years ago or 25 years ago.
mm,
It's been a long time. So I think take
yeah,
all the help you can get. But
mm,
otherwise, it's been quite an interesting journey so far. What I love about motherhood is every single day is different. Every single hour
mm,
is different. Like 1 minute they could be like screaming and crying, and the next minute they're like babbling and laughing. Like even just before this call, my daughter was playing and then suddenly she started crying, and I was like, "Oh, I have a podcast to get to. Shh, calm down." And now it's like she's back to playing. So it's good. It's fun.
mm. That's amazing, right? Like the village is what we rely on, as they say, right? The village helps you raise your child, so you need all the support. But has the internet played any role in your postpartum and like especially social media? Like, do you co-parent with Google, chat social media? Do you find interesting things, about parenting from there?
Absolutely. I think now my entire Instagram feed itself has changed to a lot of parenting content,
Mm,
be it like comedy reels or skits, or I think I follow a lot of OTs and pediatricians where they're talking about tips and tricks, and you feel like there's no limit to what you can learn, right? And you're always
mm,
like, you kind of have a FOMO of, do I know enough to help out with my kid? So even
mm,
like watching videos like what to do if your child starts choking, so you know how to, help out. Though the
yeah.
possibility is less, it's never zero. And as a parent, you're
Mm,
always kind of paranoid about what could happen. So
mm,
I love that there's so much information out on the internet and that a lot of professionals are sharing very
mm,
helpful tips, especially the ones about vocabulary and interacting with your child and screen-free
mm,
activities, right? So that's been really helpful.
mm,
And just this morning, last night was a bit rough because the night weaning is still not done fully. So this morning I was
mm,
googling, please give me schedule for night weaning, give me tips for night weaning, and using some GPT to figure that out. It's been really helpful,
mm,
like with sleep, with food. Anytime like you feel like you don't want to disturb your doctor with what you feel like is a silly question, but you feel like it's
mm.
really important, you can just like ask ChatGPT like, "Hello, please help me."
I just weaned off my 16-month-old. Like I was, it's been 2 weeks. I can tell you, it's very tough. Especially the night feeds are like the clingiest that they are
Yeah.
onto. I'm not sure what schedule you and your daughter are on, but I completely empathize with you because, but then it gets over even sooner than you expect because it's not that prolonged. Once it's over, you're like, oh, it's over.
Really?
How did that
Okay,
get
that gives
over?
me some hope because I've been
Yeah.
trying and failing, and I really need to like my sleep. I've not had more than 4 hours of sleep in the past year and a half. I would just really like some sleep. So
They-
that's all I want, some sleep.
I
Yeah.
think that
So,
should be like a t-shirt logo. I want some sleep, like for new moms. It should be a part of their
mm, need sleep. Yeah.
uh
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
sleep. But that's amazing that you're finding so much of value and use in all of these different apps and social media channels, which are helping you navigate and figure out like these, like you said, silly things about parenting that you don't want to disturb your pediatrician with, perhaps. But are there any like cons to it or negative sides to it that you're starting to see? Or rather, let me frame it in a positive way. How are you finding the balance, right? Let's say you're doing a 3 a.m. feed and you're bored out of your mind. You don't want to be mindlessly scrolling and your daughter to look up and see that, hey, why is my mom looking on the phone instead of looking at me? That kind of thing, right? So, how are you drawing that balance?
Oh, that's quite hard actually, because I think now I think they're just mainly fast asleep during the 3 a.m. feeds. But in the early days when I would kind of do a night shift and stay up all night, I would read because I found myself mindlessly scrolling, and I would. Your world has just completely changed, in a span of like
Yeah.
a day or two, and you kind of are looking at everyone else's lives, that people are partying or going on vacation, chilling, just going for a coffee, and you kind of have that FOMO about life, like everyone seems to be having fun, and I'm like here at 4 a.m. without sleep, I haven't had a shower, it feels like poles apart. So I think that was starting to affect me a bit, and I was like, hey, I
Mm,
cannot go down this rabbit hole, and let me just read. So I kicked up my reading a whole notch. So I have a Kindle. I read so many
mm,
books during that entire 1 month, and that really helped. The other con about parenting content, I guess, is figuring out whom to follow and for what reasons. I've realized
mm,
that with parenting, especially since it's such a generalized field and almost everyone is a parent, everyone feels like they are an expert, but each child
mm,
is different, right? Just because something
mm,
worked with your child, it cannot be your be all and end all of, if you're not doing this, your child is going to turn out XYZ. So I think following actual professionals has been helpful, and being able to sift through someone's opinion versus fact also
mm.
has been a useful way to make sure that you're not spiraling or going like, am I doing something wrong, or am I not doing enough for my child? I think that's a fear that every parent has. So yeah, just it's so hard to be mindful on social media because everything feels like the truth, because everyone's saying it very authoritatively, like, this is one thing I did with my kid that made sure that they were good, blah blah blah, and you're like, okay, now I realize that every child is different and there's no one size fits all at all.
That's so well put because social media is just basically an echo chamber of everybody thinking they have expertise or opinions, but it's becoming even more tougher to sift through. And like probably you have a journalism background that helps you find that balance. Also, I want to say that you're able to find what is an opinion versus what is a fact sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure a lot of parents still struggle. And like for me as well, like I think it was like 4, 5 months postpartum, and I was like still doom scrolling, still seeing these reels about mothers who are waking up at 2 a.m., perfectly, set hair with a ring light on and showing how my night is going. And that's it. I had to delete Instagram for like 4, 5 months till I was back on because I felt like it was pushing me down so hard, especially when you're doubting yourself. Oh, are you breastfeeding enough? Are you producing
Yeah.
enough milk? Are you pumping this and that, right? So it's really hardcore what you said about the fact that you should be able to question and ask, are these the experts? Are these really not, right? um, so the one thing I've been meaning to ask you is, what is an unrealistic trend or a content that you came across, especially about motherhood online, that made you feel like, okay, no way, I don't think I can do this, and this is not really motherhood.
Oh yeah, definitely that whole trad wife trend that's been going on.
Yeah.
Like you, I mean, maybe because I'm a content creator myself, I can clearly tell, okay, this is where the camera is put, this is where the light is put, this is she said start and she started doing it, then she said cut, and you know exactly how much time it would take to film all this. So very, very obviously, you are not making breakfast for scratch. You're not actually making breakfast for scratch for your kids that morning. Because if you did, that would be like 4 hours of shoot, and there's kids being hungry, they're not going to wait. So for me, right from the start, I kind of had this sense that it's a piece of content. It's like a film. It's not real
Mm,
life. I don't imagine it to be real life. But I would understand that if someone is not familiar with this world, you might look at it and be like, wow, she's doing so many things. And she's
yeah.
also looking perfect with. You wake up at 5 a.m. to make breakfast from scratch and you have your lipstick perfectly done, your contour done, your hair curled. Please, okay, you are doing all that because you're filming content. If I
Mm.
was doing something like that, I would have totally done the same thing. But if realistically I was waking up at 5 a.m., my hair is all up, I could have dark circles, I'm in a t-shirt, I probably have not, I can't see clearly, but it's curated for Instagram. It's like a film. It's a piece of
Mhm.
content. It's not real life.
Mm. Yeah,
Um,
that's
yeah.
sorry.
So those are the. I mean, it's great to look at, and when you look at it, you're like,
Mm.
wow, so perfect, so idyllic. Especially, I think one more creator's ballerina farm. Have you seen her videos where she's on that farm? She has like
Yeah.
7, 8 kids running around, and she's making butter, and she's making her pie from scratch, and you're like,
Oh,
wow, I would love to be a guest at that dinner table, but and how are all her children so perfectly behaved around
dressed
her?
and behaved,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
They're
Yeah.
not
Uh,
jumping in to put their hand in the butter. Unrealistic. So, yeah, if you just view it at that, then it's fine. But if you feel like it's real life, then it does make you feel very inadequate about yourself.
no. Okay, so in the next part, I want to pivot a bit and talk like hardcore technology, think futuristic, think about like what the world might look like when our kids are like teenagers, right? So, um, like, have you started giving any screen time to your daughter yet? Where do you stand on the whole screen time debate, of Miss Rachel, Coco Melon, and all of those other things?
Yeah, so screen time, I think from all the research that I've seen, everything agrees that you have to delay screen time as much as possible. But I do agree that it's not to 100% ban it is almost impossible because say you're at home, you have extended family over and someone's watching TV. You can't be like, oh, switch off the TV. Oh, don't look at it. Don't look at it. You can't do that.
Yeah.
But what you can control is like not giving screens while they're eating, for example, or using that as an activity in the day instead of taking them down to the park. I
Mm,
know that it's very easy for me to say this because I have help
yeah.
and I live with family. So when I need a break, there's someone else to take over. But I could imagine that, for example, if I was still living back in Singapore and it was just me and my husband and I was feeling so overwhelmed, I would be like, please, just half an hour, just watch this so I can take a break. I totally understand that, and it's really hard. It's a hard balance to have. But for me right now, my stance is I'm going to delay it as much as possible. We haven't introduced
Mm,
any screen time. I think we went on a road trip once and she was like screaming, screaming, screaming because she doesn't like cars. And that time to
no.
calm her down, we were like, okay, please look at the screen and calm down so that she would just be distracted. So I think
Mm,
and with this whole no screen time, it's terrible for kids, you do feel guilty as a parent. You're like counting down the seconds of
yeah.
how long is she watching it, what's going to happen to her. So I mean, it's good we're thinking about all of this because the earlier
Yeah.
generation never really thought about it, and I don't blame them. There's not enough research about it. But yeah,
Yeah.
we're trying our best to keep screens off. Music would be only through the speakers, like without any screens.
Mm,
And
mm.
I what I do is I love Miss Rachel, but I watch all her videos and learn the songs and actions, and then I'm
Oh,
the open shut them, open shut them. I am the IRL Miss Rachel. So yeah, because I think it's a
that's
great way for them. Yeah.
on point. That was on point. It's
Yeah.
yeah. I
Because
think
it's
that's a
it's a
really
great way to
yeah.
learn for kids to learn. You cannot deny
Yeah.
that. Actions, words, expressions, music. But we, I guess, have to figure out a way that we can do it without screens.
Yeah, in fact, I was reading an article about, the whole around when Miss Rachel came out. Initially, there was a way of saying ban Cocomelon because it's too fast, it's too bright.
Mm.
So Miss Rachel became the replacement, and now people are criticizing some parts of her shows as well. But the underlying research says that, hey, kids are more interested in interacting with real humans, and seeing actions when humans are doing it, right? So your parents and of course, it's like over exaggerated and expressive,
Yeah.
and slower. So yeah, you can try to put on your show, a show for your baby as well, right? Like just the way you're trying to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And even for parents, it's kind of fun because,
Yeah.
especially when a child can't doesn't start talking yet,
Mm,
like maybe if you're a very chatty extrovert person, you can keep chattering to your child. But for me,
mm.
beyond a point, like I feel if there's one-way communication, I get really bored. So for me, I can keep singing. That is one thing I can do. So all the songs I keep singing and doing all the actions, and that works for me for having that one-on-one time with my child.
That's a good strategy, actually. Really good strategy. One thing I'm also curious to understand is because you're a content creator yourself and you're like knee deep into probably the statistics and the back end of how your reels are doing. Yet on the front, you're still so grounded and authentic, which is why I think a lot of people are able to relate to you. Your audience likes hearing you, because you're keeping things very real, right? So one of the things that I'm thinking is, have you thought or given um, any thought to what role parenting could play in, this fight against algorithm? Because like social media, the algorithm and the way these apps are designed is to suck young minds into this rabbit hole, into being addicted to screens of any sort, right? So what role would we play in shaping their minds when it comes to future screen addictions and things like that?
Hmm, interesting question. Um, I think, um, like, okay, one thing that I've seen my cousin do, which I really admire, is the way that she approached social media for her daughter. So her daughter's a teenager, and like all her friends have social media, but she's not on it. But they've
Mm,
um, given now finally given her access to it, but there are a lot of boundaries. So they've spoken to her about social media, about what to expect, what they expect her not to do, and having this kind of boundary setting is a very new concept to me, especially because like I joined Facebook when I was in ninth grade, and me and all my friends were just posting whatever, like, hey, I went to class today, ooh, we had maths test today, like stupid things like that. So I had never thought about the consequences or the long term consequences of this being on there forever,
mm,
or what we were posting, the photos we were posting, whether it could be misused, for example. And now when I look back at my older posts, I'm like, what was I thinking? I was clearly not thinking. I had no concept of what it could mean. So now that we are more aware of what this could be, I think it would be great for us to approach it in a way where it's almost like when you send your kid to a new place by themselves. You're like, hey, I'm sending you, you're going
mm,
alone for the first time. This is what you need to keep an eye out for. If you feel unsafe, come talk to me. Keep all of these boundaries in
mm.
place, and have those parental restrictions. I think it's great now that apps have where
Have those parental.
yeah,
Mm,
correct. Where when your parent is watching, you can't like misbehave too much. So I really like that. But with AI coming in, I feel like it's gonna change a lot of things. Like even seeing my daughter stand in front of the HomePod and being like, she can't speak yet, but she's like E for Siri, so that music starts playing. I see that and I'm like, whoa, okay. Once she's gonna be able to start talking and typing and things like that, and again, like our parents were like, the internet is educational. You'd be like, oh, AI is educational. It'll help us learn a
mm,
lot of things. But we know how we treated the internet and what we did with it. So it again would be good to have these guidelines in place. Also, with AI developing into videos and pictures, it's
mm.
really hard to tell what is real, what's not. So we can't treat AI as a babysitter and feel like it's going to take care of everything. It has the best intentions. No, you as a parent have to even more careful about what your child is interacting with online.
That's true. So how would this extend to parents, new parents especially, who are figuring all of this out, right? Would that mean we do boundary setting first with ourselves? Um, try to practice what we preach even before expecting our like children and the next generation to follow through?
Absolutely. Like, I've been trying a lot to curb my own use of my phone, because even if I feel like I'm listening, but if I'm like this, I'm like, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. My kid still feels like the attention is divided, and two feels like, oh, this is such an exciting thing that my parent is giving so much attention to. So I've been trying really hard to curb phone use, but I feel like one space I fail at is I want to keep taking pictures of the cute moments, and I wish there was like an invention like the old school camera where you could use it just for a camera and you don't get distracted with anything else on it. I
Mm,
think that's one thing that's hard. But now parenting in this day and age is a lot about self-control, where you spoke about, practicing what you preach. That's really, really hard because I think a lot of us are quite used to having our phones with us at all times, looking at it, using it for
mm.
everything, and then having to tell our child, oh, don't use the iPad, oh, don't look at the screen, is hard. So we also, I guess, have to commit to a screen-free life, and
Yeah.
figure out alternatives of how, if you say the phone is so important, we need to call someone, figure out maybe use a dummy phone for just calling and texting if it gets to that point.
I already see it getting to that point in a lot of parts of the world. I feel like people are going back to not just dumb phones, landlines even, right? To be able to have Wi-Fi free zones in their own houses and to disconnect from like these Siris and Alexas and stuff in the house because it feels like they're always tripping and overhearing your conversations when they probably shouldn't be. So
Yeah.
um, that's kind of the reality of it, I guess. Let's talk about feeling hopeful for the future now,
Mhm.
Satya. What kind of world, obviously, do you hope your daughter, my daughter, grows up in, and what skills do you think that generation's gonna need like 10 years down the line?
Oh, I think like when I just think about the kind of childhood I want her to have and I want other kids to have her age, is one where you're very connected with nature, where you're playing outside a lot more, where I think that's hard also because it depends on where you live.
Mhm.
Not everyone lives in a space where you can just send your child to the playground or you have a playground
Mm,
nearby. Or not everyone lives in an apartment complex, for example, where there are other kids to play with. So
mm,
we make a lot of decisions about where we live, how we live, etc., based on our child. So I want her to be able to play as much as possible because that's how I remember my childhood. Even though we had a TV, I remember just being so excited to play from 7 a.m. till 7 p.m. whenever my mom would call me back. And I feel like I learned a lot about life just through play. I like that this generation, the current Gen Alpha, is quite empathetic and they are very rejecting of social norms about like appearance and things like that. They subvert a lot of these things. That's really hopeful to see because I think in my generation especially a lot of emphasis was put on appearance, on your body size and things like that. So I hope they grow up in a world where a childhood is a childhood and they're not made to grow up too soon or be like mini adults, and
mm.
that they're able to live harmoniously with technology but not be completely dependent on it like I feel like we are now.
Really beautiful. Very well put.
Yeah, it's very
And
it's a very utopian feel, I think, because I think that's a bit unrealistic, but I mean we are trying our best to make sure that's a reality.
exactly, one can only hope. The
Yeah.
more you hope and picture this kind of a world, it will manifest. That's what I feel.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I hope so. I really hope so.
Okay, so we're going to pivot to a little kind of I wouldn't say it's like what's that thing called that they do in talk shows where it's a rapid fire? It's not a rapid fire. It's just some
Okay,
cues
okay.
in it. Are you a tech savvy person or not, Sache? I think you are, but just to test and see if you're up to date on the latest of the digital inventions, tech thingies, just
Mm-hmm.
so Tara doesn't beat you to
I'm
it.
sure she
Okay.
will.
Which of these smart gadgets actually exist? I'm going to give you four options. A baby monitor that analyzes cries using AI. B, a diaper that texts you when it's full. C, a bottle that tracks feeding time, volume, and temperature. And D, all of the above.
I feel like all of the above, though I feel like the diaper is a bit suspicious. But I feel like the baby monitor 100%, because I use a very basic baby monitor and it just tells me when the baby cries. But I would totally use if especially in those early days, one that could tell me, why are you crying? Are you hungry? Are you sleepy? Do you have poof? Why? But yeah, I kind of feel like it's all of the above. Is that true?
It is. It is all of the above. Yes, indeed. There are sensory diapers which have these sensors in them which can send you push notifications on your phone app, whether it's full or not.
Wow.
So,
I feel like uh, the current diapers, they have that strip which turns blue,
blue.
correct, when the
Yeah.
baby pees. And when my mom saw it, she's like, wow, what technology is this? Yeah, that's how I feel like when I hear
When
about
you're,
this.
we are getting very closer to becoming the next boomers, such here. So
Yeah.
it's better we accept it. So,
I kind of
okay,
feel
next
you
one.
can tell when a baby's diaper is full. Like, I feel like that's a life skill you need to have.
I'm gonna send you a link to that. It's a thing.
Wow. Cool, cool.
Um,
Okay, next one.
which of these is not a real AI use case yet? A, an AI-powered lullaby generator. B, smart pacifier that tracks the temperature. C, algorithm that detects tantrums even before they can happen. And D, AI that can fold laundry without complaining.
Wow. I would love an AI that could fold laundry. But I feel like it's not real AI. What can the one that can predict tantrums before it happens?
That is real. Can you believe
What?
it? It's the one AI that can fold laundry doesn't exist yet because
Yeah,
obviously you need an AI plus a robot powered thingy to help you
correct.
fold laundry. But there is research existing about
Interesting.
analyzing tantrums.
I feel like, as parents with enough experience, you can kind of tell when a tantrum is building up. Like you hear the cry, and then like, okay, this is the start of it. I need to put an end to it right now before it goes into a full-blown tantrum. I mean, great if something can predict it, but I would love for an AI to be able to translate and help calm the child down ASAP. Like, it's fine if you
Mm,
can predict it, but please help me with a solution as well. That would be great.
that's good. That would be great, right? And the last one, what is screen time according to toddlers today? So four options again. Time spent watching educational content, the only time they'll sit still, the moment peace depends upon the household, or last, the currency of negotiation.
It feels like all four. Oh, am I
It
supposed to
does,
pick just
right?
one? Yeah.
Yeah, just pick one.
What is, I mean, I would love for it to be just educational content, but I feel like it's
No.
negotiation right now,
It
right?
is because
Mm.
I don't think toddlers sit still during screen time, and I don't think screen time is necessarily peaceful in the household because you hear the screen loudly as well.
Yeah.
But yes, the correct answer is it is a currency of negotiation.
Yeah, oh gosh. Man, I feel like delaying screen time even more. Like, I know initial reports say that up until the age of 2, zero screen time, and then it has to be what, like 15 minutes a day or something? But yeah, I would be happy if I can just delay it altogether. But
I feel the same too, but it depends on circumstances, it depends on what you're doing. But
yeah.
I think one big realization in general I've had in the last 1 year is it all depends on what I'm able to do on myself to expect my child to be able to do that or anybody
Mhm.
else to do that, right? So, which is why this podcast as well, where it's sort of my cry to help to other parents, to educators and tech experts out there to tell me, hey, come, let's talk. Let's collectively find some solution to this because it can't be so difficult to solve.
Yeah, I think like a lot of us depend on tech because even as new parents, we feel like we don't know anything and the world is moving so fast. And so we're just looking on it as a crutch to best help our child.
Mm,
And I think, like, for example, even the like learning Miss Rachel, so you can do it yourself, there are a lot of activities that you can learn yourself and then try it out with your child without screens. So I think that might be a quite a popular route for a lot of parents to go through, especially if you have the time to do that with your child. But I again, like, we're all in such different circumstances. A lot of us, both the parents are
yeah.
working full time. You don't have that time. You come back home, you're so tired, and then
Mm,
thinking of like 25 screen free activities to set up for your child is like one headache. It as a parent in today's day and age, you always feel like you're not doing enough just because you're seeing everyone else do so much. especially those elaborate lunch packing ones where you don't even see the parents' face, but things, fruit is cut into the shape of a dinosaur and a little
Yeah.
heart. And you're like, your child does not know.
It's all going to become one, like my mom says, it's becoming one big mush into the stomach. So
Yeah,
don't care.
yeah. Yeah, and I feel like kids never know until you introduce them to something like this
Yep.
exists. So I'm like, take banana. This is a banana. It's great. Eat it as is. I'm not cutting it into shapes for you. But yeah, I feel like I might just end up doing it down the line, but never say never.
Never say never. All right, Satya. I think I just want to end with one last question that I hope I continue asking every guest on the show is one tech rule and one parenting rule you hope to hold yourself and your home to while raising your child.
One tech rule I think would be no personal tech devices for my child until probably they're a teenager. By that I mean like
Mm,
no computer in their room or no laptop for themselves beyond
mm,
like, for example, like 8 p.m. onwards, no laptop for you or no iPad for
mm,
you. Because I feel like a lot of the trouble kids get into uh, and get exposed to inappropriate content is when they are with their devices alone and there's no
mm,
supervision. It might feel like you're being overprotective or you're like paranoid, but you need to be like, we at
mm,
least we are the first wave of parents who have experienced all of these ourselves. We know what is out there, we know the dangers out there, so we have to be
mm,
better equipped to handle this for our kids. So that would be
mm,
no unsupervised tech beyond a certain time at beyond a certain age. And also one parenting rule, this might be like an unpopular thing, but I don't want to be my child's friend. I want to
mm,
be very clear. I am your parent. I may
mm.
be a friendly parent, but I am still your parent. And that's a role I will fill. No one else can fill it. And you can have many friends, and but just know that I am your safe space. Regardless,
Mm.
like you can come to me, but if there are rules, there are rules. If there are boundaries, there are boundaries. I think I'm going to be a very strict parent, and I don't mind that because I would rather be a strict parent now than spend like years trying to correct problematic
Yep.
behavior. And I know that's
Mm,
really hard. Even now, like if okay, I'll give you a small example. My daughter really likes holding my dog's leash,
mm,
and first we thought it was very cute. Oh, she's trying to walk the dog, ah, ha, ha. And
mm,
then she tried walking with the dog, and if he moves, she would fall. So we tried to take it away
mm,
from her. So she was screaming. So one day we were like, oh, no, no, she's screaming. Let's give it back to her. But that was just
mm,
reinforcing the behavior. So 2, 3 days, we took it away from her. She screamed. Everybody was looking at us as we were walking back home. And we were like, it's fine. And now the fourth day, it's okay. Like she has forgotten about it. So I would rather endure those 3 days of her screaming and throwing a
mm,
tantrum rather than me uh, for the next few years always being afraid that she's going to try to walk the dog and then fall and hurt herself, and both her and the dog could get injured.
mm,
And then also setting this boundary that no means no. Like we are saying no or we're saying stop it. It means stop it. If you don't, there's going to be consequences. So there's one podcaster I really, really like.
mm,
I love her reels on Instagram. It's called Brat Buster Parenting.
mm,
She gives very straightforward, to the point advice on how to deal with tantrums, how to deal with kids. She's a much older lady, and I really like that style of parenting where it's very no nonsense, but you are interacting with a child in their world and according to their developmental ability. Like you can't be disciplining a 12-month-old and being like, no, you can't do that because blah 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 blah. You can't like
yeah.
they don't they're just developmentally not ready for that. You can try that with an older child, but not with a younger child.
Mm,
So I think one of the most interesting journeys for me as a parent is understanding where my child is developmentally and realizing they
mm,
might look like little humans, but they're not
mm,
little humans already. They're still figuring out language, the world, boundaries, so many things. So, trying to meet my child where she's at has been an interesting
mm.
journey and very humbling. Very, very humbling.
Wow, that it's the simple things, right, Satya? It's just going back to those simple, no nonsense techniques and things that you intuitively can implement rather than relying on 10,000 different advice. available online and telling that this is called gentle parenting, this is called extremely gentle parenting, this is called you need to only use these words and these phrases. That was so powerful and so well articulated. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I mean, I really enjoyed being on this podcast. I think this is the first time I've ever spoken about parenting on a podcast. So I've really
Yay.
enjoyed this conversation. I love talking to other parents because I think all of us try different techniques and try different methods because we all have very different children. So I love just learning about, I mean, I may not, that the techniques you use may not work for me, but I'm always opening
Yeah.
to hearing about it
Mm,
because I think there's no point in judging other parents because we're all going through the same thing. And
yeah.
if, like even things like sleep training or formula on breastfeeding or all of these
Yeah.
things
All
that are
of those.
so divisive, I think that's one thing about the internet where people are so strongly opinionated about certain things. Um, that's interesting to see. But
Mm,
yeah, it's a crazy world out there, is all I can say. Everyone has their own approach, and I think
yeah.
in the beginning you would feel very strongly about something, but like for example, if you feel like, oh, breastfeeding is the only way, and then if you would hear about someone else giving formula, you'd be like, how could she give formula, blah, 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 breastfeeding is the
Mm,
only way. But then if your supply gets affected and then your child is hungry, you would obviously use
mm,
formula, right? So the at the end of the day, like they say, fed is best. But while I agree with that, I think you also do need to speak to a pediatrician at the end of the day
mm.
and consult with them if you're making any big changes with your child, and not just go by
Mm.
what you see on the internet. Like some parents might be like, raw cow's milk is great, but it's not. You
Yeah,
have to
it's
get,
not
yeah.
pasteurized.
Oh my goodness, yeah. So even about this whole anti-vax movement and all of these things, I know that a
Yeah.
lot of parents are operating out of fear and love for their child, but at the end of the day, you have to go to the experts and get their opinion. You can form your own opinion, but
Mm,
get that grounded in facts and not just anecdotal evidence of some relative, something happened. Look at the data as a whole.
yeah. Yeah. Or like, and ultimately, I feel like be firm and be strong in the opinion you formed, and
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to feel guilty probably about what somebody else is saying, including your own family members or your parents or in-laws judging you for forming that opinion, because after all, you've gone out there, informed yourself, met with the experts, sat down with them, and then come to that conclusion, right? Like, I feel like we've had a couple of those experiences as well. Oftentimes, new parents are made to feel guilty even after making a decision about what they think is best for their child. Um, and it's always that learning journey, right? Like you are learning from your mistakes, you're iterating, you're going back to the drawing board saying, does this make sense, does this not make sense, and then you come back again with a different opinion.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and it's not a one size fits all. For example, like
No.
sleep training. That's like the most divisive topic on the internet. And I realized like people who's like, so my daughter's not a very good sleeper. She used to wake up every like 1 hour, 1.5 hours. And I would meet with parents who are like, I would never do sleep training. My child anyway, goes to sleep at 8 p.m. and wakes up at 8 a.m. And I'm like, wow, you are really
What?
lucky. So you don't know what I'm going through. Um,
Yeah.
and even in the beginning, I was like, no, no, I think it's very cruel. How could you do something like that? But then I realized that if I'm not getting enough sleep, then I am falling asleep during the day when I'm supposed to be, when it's just me and her. And that's so dangerous because I need to keep an eye out. I was moody, irritable, all of these things that it was really affecting my quality of life. And I
Mm,
felt like I wasn't present enough as a parent during the day because I didn't have enough sleep. And so then began a very long journey. Like I took a couple of classes, I spoke to an expert, I did a lot of reading, and then now that we've and also realizing there's multiple methods of sleep training, it's not just cry it out. And now that we've tried it out, and I can't even imagine that there was a point of time where I would spend almost 1 hour trying to put her to bed. I would squat, I would sing, I would rock her, I would feed her, and then even then, like the slightest sound would wake her up, and then this whole cycle would repeat every single hour. And I can't believe I used to live like that. And then I came to know about sleep training. I was like, wow, this has changed my life so much. I'm still struggling with it in the sense that I think it's a process. It's not like a one size fits all, but
No.
it has changed my life so much. And so now when I see comments from parents like, I would never do something like sleep training, it's not biologically normal, or I wouldn't be so cruel to my child like that, I realize that a lot of time maybe it's coming out of misinformation or fear, and that's fine. But I mean, look at how it's like long term. Do you see yourself doing
Yeah.
this? Is it okay for your child to be having such broken sleep and waking up every 1 hour? Because when they sleep is when their growth hormone is excreted, their
Everything.
brain.
Yeah.
Sleep is so important. And I think something that really changed my mindset was understanding like sleep is a gift for children. And that's the time they
Mm,
really rest, relax. And I've seen like when my daughter sleeps well at night, the next day she has so much more energy, she's playful,
mm.
she's learning a lot more interactive. Versus earlier, it was like everybody was on edge, everybody was irritable. And so seeing all that, experiencing all that, I'm like, whoa, I'm not going to be close-minded about anything ever again. If there's a new concept, I'm open to like reading more about it, checking more about it. And it's also a bit of a challenge convincing people around you because they're hearing a baby cry and you're not immediately running in to, pick up the child. So they're like, so cruel, how can you do that? So you have to talk to them about it. So it's not just you taking a decision for yourself, it's also educating everybody else around you and having that support. And that is so important because if you don't have support from people around you, then it's almost impossible to continue being the kind of parent you want
Oh,
to be.
yeah. Especially you and your partner, right? Or you and your husband and whoever is primarily taking care of the child. You're like in it together. And oftentimes when the mother is going through her postpartum journey in recovery, she's far more impacted emotionally because it's like hormones all over the place. And I could feel it, what you're saying in the skin, because
Mm-hmm.
I went through something similar. Like I call my baby FOMO baby because for some reason, since she was born, she has this fear that we're going partying or we're going to go do something very cool. And that's why she needs to stay alert and awake. Like she was born alert. She
Mm.
wouldn't sleep at all. And it was the same thing. We had to hold her to sleep for the
Oh yeah,
first 3 months.
Velcro baby here.
Velcro baby, essentially, right? But also we had to hold her in a specific position. Like you can't, no, 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 you can't do this, or you can't put her
Uh,
down while keeping like your hand. We tried everything, right? We tried sleep training also. Like there are pros and cons we experienced to it. So we went in for a more neutral method, and now I can say safely that past the 1 year mark and past even weaning off, she's far better with sleep. She is able to finally sleep through the night, wakes up once still, but until like December, till her birthday, she used to wake up 5 times. And I was still crying, right? It was like, what do I do? Why I look like a
yeah.
zombie. I'm not able to process thoughts or do anything. And then you have all these people around you. Anytime they would hear my baby cry, they're like, "Oh, you're not feeding her enough? Is it a feed time? Is it poop?" It's like, stop giving me opinions. I know
Yeah.
I just fed her right now,
I
so she's not
know,
hungry.
yeah. Oh my God.
So the
Oh yeah.
solution is feed the baby.
Oh my God. And then you try to feed the baby, she does not want to feed, and you're like, now what do I do?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very tough. It's a very tough zone to be in. And I really like the parents whose kids are great sleepers from the start. Like I met someone who said her baby was sleeping through the night from the time she was like 3 weeks, and I was like, how does it
Wow.
feel to be God's favorite?
That-
That is that is amazing. Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, I don't know. So even same here. Even like you can't, you had to hold them. Like my baby, I had to first 3 months at least when she napped, you had to hold her constantly because the minute you put her
Mm.
down, she would wake up. So it would be either me holding her or mom or my husband or someone. Like someone always had to hold her. So it was tough on everyone because the minute you put her down, like she's crying, and you're like, you can't just let the baby cry, right? So then now they're
Yeah.
rocking, walking, doing squats, singing.
Oh
Yeah,
my
we went
God.
through all that. But I feel like now when I look back at it, I'm like, wow, if I could do that, I can like do it. This waking up twice a night,
Anything.
easy. Ha, that's it.
Yeah.
That's all.
But no, this was actually a really heartfelt conversation, Satchaya. Sorry. I felt like we were able to truly connect one parent to another and share our worries, but also come up with some cool, really fun ideas to make parenting a bit more easy. Definitely, I would urge all the listeners to check Satya out on Instagram and YouTube at the rate SATSHYAA. And also check out her podcast on Spotify. It's called Chuma Conversations. I know we didn't get to mention or talk about it in detail, but I really want people to go hear your conversations with all of these cool, new and upcoming content creators, and all the amazing things that they're doing in India. So, yeah, thank you again.
Thank you so much, Deepa. I had a fantastic time. Thank you.